Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Yep, Charlamagne the God, Angela Yee. We are the Breakfast Club, and we got a special guest here who's got a new book out called One Decision, The First Step to a Better Life. Mike Baer is back on the Breakfast Club.
Thanks
Good morning,
for having
my brother.
me, man.
How are you, sir?
It's good to be here.
It's great to have you, man.
One decision, the first step to a better life. What is that one decision, Mike?
Oh, man. I mean, we're one decision away from everything. From getting in trouble
Disaster.
to making money to being in a good relationship, bad relationship. And it's like, why do
Getting
we...
an STD.
Getting an STD. Getting pregnant.
Yeah. So.
It's all about
cheating.
choices, though.
It's all about it. And,
Yeah.
and we make over 30,000 decisions a day, and we often don't look back at our decisions until we go, oh, my God, that was the worst decision I ever made.
Wow.
So I was... In this book, I just wanted to write out and help people figure out for themselves how to make decisions that lead to a better life.
Yeah, it's being proactive instead of being reactive, because a lot of times we are just reacting to what's happening instead of going out and saying, this is what I want, this is what I have to get, and I have to make these decisions to make it happen.
Yeah. And the last time I was here, I had you guys do an exercise, so maybe I'll have you do an exercise while I'm here again.
I'm
today.
with it. Because, I always say, man, destiny is not a matter of chance, it's a matter of choice. But it's like, when you're younger, you don't always make the best choices because you don't really have all the information.
Or you make decisions based upon who you hang out with.
Yes, yes.
Right? That
yes.
happens for a lot of people is, it's just like if you hang out with people who make more money, you typically make decisions that make more money. If you hang out with people who do drugs, you typically make decisions that do drugs. So, but it's not until we get in trouble or there's a crisis that we sit back and we go, oh, my God, I need to do something. So I want to help people figure out ahead of time how to set themselves up.
I didn't even ask you, how are you, man? I mean,
I'm good.
No, seriously, how are you? And none of us are the same as we were before the pandemic. So how are you?
I'm good, man.
Okay.
Yeah, so one of the businesses I have is a treatment center. So we used to have, it's called CAST centers. We used to have maybe 80% drug addicts and alcoholics, and now it's like 80% mental health.
Wow.
Yeah, so a lot of people in our lives have really struggled with that. So we're seeing a huge increase. But I think everyone went through a hard period of time.
Absolutely. A lot of times the drug use comes from the mental health issues that they haven't dealt with. So it's a lot of self-medicating.
And a lot of people they realize now they're not blaming COVID anymore.
Yeah.
You could blame COVID for 18 months.
Right.
But now you got to figure out your life. So, but I'm good. I'm out here. It's Gay Pride Week. This is the gayest thing I'm going to do all week.
You look like you leaned out, too.
I did. I've been doing jiu-jitsu 5 days a week.
Okay.
Have you ever done jiu-jitsu?
I've done B-jitsu. My man, Grandmaster, well, I call him Professor, but he's a Grandmaster Robert Evans. So,
okay.
Yeah, so he has a never so deep as his dojo. So,
yeah, have you?
Yeah.
No, I've never done jiu-jitsu.
I wish I was doing it when I was younger. It's the best self-defense.
I've done boxing. That's it, which I enjoy.
Yeah, I'm a big guy. I'm 6'5", 270. But I honestly don't think I was a good fighter or could defend myself. I don't think people picked on me because I'm a big guy.
Right,
But I feel like I probably would claw someone.
Yeah.
I don't, if it really came down to the moment, I wouldn't be like,
come on, Mike.
I'm not a boxer.
But you would do jiu-jitsu.
But now I do jiu-jitsu, and I have a lot more confidence when I walk down the street.
Way to reinforce stereotypes, Mike. You claw somebody in a fight? Jesus.
Well, now let's talk about seeing those obstacles as opportunities, right?
Yeah.
That's something that you discuss in the book. And you also personally talk about things you've done in your own life where you had obstacles, but instead of saying, I can't write this book because, I'm dyslexic, you'll say, okay, actually the reason why I can do these things, I see the opportunity in it. Or even overcoming being addicted to crystal meth. Some people might feel like, I can't do anything because I'm a drug addict, but having to make those decisions and seeing those opportunities, how important has that been for you, would you say?
Yeah, I think until you get to the other side, it's really hard to help other people. So I think God or universe has created issues for myself that have been obstacles. So being addicted to drugs, like we talked about last time, like crystal meth. I didn't talk about last time being gay. That sucked. That was an awful experience for me for many years in my life, but I can't blame that anymore.
Right.
I got to go, okay, that's an opportunity to be stronger, to be more focused, to help others, to tell my story, right? So you have to kind of look at, is it an obstacle or is it an opportunity? If you're in an obstacle, you get kind of stuck being a victim.
What sucked about being gay? The fact that you just couldn't be free about it at the time?
I didn't know what it was. I swear to God. When I was growing up, I saw RuPaul and Village People. And I didn't feel like close to either one of those.
Right.
So
the representation is what you needed to see.
Yeah, like I went to play basketball at Fordham. So I didn't know what it was. There really wasn't social media. And so it sucks when you're hooking up with, like I kept trying to hook up with women.
You didn't like
but
it.
it was like, it just felt weird.
You know what's so interesting about that? Because I'm just thinking about the way society is structured. There is no space that teaches gay people about that their sexuality, because it's always man, woman. That's what they show. You know what I mean?
And if it does, it's in the clubs.
Yeah.
Or the bars, or it's camp.
Yeah.
Or it's like eccentric and flamboyant. There's not a lot of like,
wow,
hey, let's talk about this. And I went to Catholic school where they taught you about a gay, like graded on an exam about whether being gay was a sin.
Right.
What?
So like that stuff, like, but again, it's like, cool, I get to take that past pain and use it as an opportunity to help others.
And it makes you a lot more empathetic to other people too when you've been through things like that. Did you ever feel like someone was going to out you?
Yes, I had a fake girlfriend. And her name was Heather. And I used to bring her to the dances. You know, I went with the homecoming queen. I was captain of basketball team. I bring this girl Heather around who's really attractive. She went to another school. Well, right then MySpace started happening, and Heather met one of the football players at my high school. And Heather told the football player that I was gay.
Yikes.
Oh my gosh. Why
Yeah,
would you
so
do
that's
that?
how, and then everyone was calling me like, hey, man, this is, you know, I don't know if you can curse on here. But
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
this
sure.
This is fucked up, man. Everyone's saying you're gay, bro. Like that rumor. And then in the meantime, I'm just like, oh, man, like, you know, so.
What's fucked up is Heather was a terrible beard. That's what
That was a bad decision.
Exactly.
Right?
You picked the wrong one.
Right?
Yeah, but you can't predict
I
and
mean, when
control
did you
what
guys
other
know you were
people-
straight? Or are you straight? Both of you?
I think so.
am. Yeah.
As far as I know,
know?
I haven't met the right guy yet to make me feel otherwise.
Hey, Charlamagne.
I'm married, Mike.
All right, I'm not.
I mean, I never thought about it. I never questioned it. I never thought about other women in that way.
Yeah.
You know, I've always really enjoyed penis.
Penis.
I didn't want to curse, but yeah, I've never even been attracted to women. So I guess, but
Have you had women hit on you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what do you say?
I say, oh, I have a boyfriend.
Got it.
Yeah,
Do
I'm not
you like how it feels?
It's fine to me. It doesn't bother me. I feel like the same as if men hit on me. It doesn't really affect
Got
me.
it.
Like I've had women. I hosted during Gay Pride. I hosted a party, a lesbian party, and this one girl was so persistent, and she was like, "Look, we could just pretend to be friends. You know, your boyfriend doesn't have to know. We could hang out, and you could say that's my homegirl." I was like, "I appreciate the cheating and sneaking you want me to do, but I'm really not gay, and I'm not interested." But I was, it doesn't bother me. I think men, for some reason, get more offended. And I also feel like guys like girls who are bisexual or gay.
I've never been
no
offended.
girls are like turned on by their guy liking other guys.
So I feel like it's changing, though.
Is it?
I was having a conversation at this movie screening the other day. I won't say her name, but, she just found out her boyfriend is gay. And she said she's not bothered by dating a guy who's bisexual. So.
How about you? Have you been hit on?
Yeah, I've been hit on. Definitely been hit on.
How's
You
it
want to
feel?
expand on it?
Oh, no, the time I got hit on, I just told him, like, I'm not accepting tickets to this basketball game. That's how they tried to hit on me.
Oh, really?
By offering me tickets to the
That
game.
sounds
And I
like
you know?
code. Yeah.
Well, I was clueless at first, but then when I didn't come to the game, like, the person got mad, like, mad, like, how could you stand me up? And it was the language. And then he actually sent a woman to come speak to me to find out why I didn't come to the game. And that's when I started connecting the dots.
I thought that was code for I'm not gay when you said I don't want tickets to the
Oh,
game.
no. He really offered me tickets to a basketball game. It was a basketball
I didn't know
game.
he really asked you to go to a game. I thought that was your way of saying, I'm not going to that game.
No, he really offered me tickets
What
to the
about
basketball
the time
game.
you were in the revolving door and a guy was in the thing with you, pressed up against you?
That was just an accident, G. That was just...
That was just a cuddling moment.
It had nothing to do with nothing.
That doesn't sound like an accident.
But listen, Mike, what are some of the tools that in making the best decisions for yourself?
Well, I'll do this with you. You got a pen, paper?
Yes.
Sure.
All right. Every time I come in, I want to do an exercise.
Is the
with
pen
you
over
guys.
there?
Okay. I got it.
Yeah, you just got to bust out a pen. And you're just going to put what comes to mind.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. We're just, and by the way, with this, it's just a matter of what your brain says. So it's authentic to you.
All right.
I want you to
Okay.
just quickly write down What is the best decision you made this year in 2021?
Quickly. Oh, man. Oh.
Okay.
All right, you got one thing. And then what I want you to write next is what's a decision you made this year that's causing you the most anxiety?
I need another pen. There's another pen over there.
The decision I made this year. Oh.
And then lastly, I want you to write out what is a decision you really feel is the best decision you ever made in your life? So first, we're going to go through what is the decision this year that you felt like was what was the first one, the worst or the best?
I'm the best. I would say opening a coffee shop. I'm opening a coffee shop next month, and I started my own coffee brand, but I'm really excited about it, and things are going well. So I think it was a good decision for me to just jump out there and make it happen instead of just thinking about it.
To push yourself, to actually like create a business, do it yourself.
Yeah, and not just like having my own coffee brand, but then I just inspirationally one day was like, I'm gonna open a coffee shop, and immediately like I started looking for locations. I remember exactly where I was walking when I decided to do it, and then I really made it happen.
That's awesome. How about you?
Embracing the full totality of my existence, every version of myself that I've ever been. The young me, the teenage me, the 20-something-year-old me, 30-something-year-old me, every version of myself, and embracing the full totality of my existence. Yes.
And you
good, bad, ugly.
And do you remember a moment when you decide that you made the decision, I'm going to accept all of me?
Yeah, that was 3 days ago. Being totally honest. Just like, people always trying to weaponize like the old versions of me versus the new versions, and just, these are conversations I always have with my therapist and my sacred purpose coach, and just them telling me, like, because you keep trying to suppress that part of you, but that part of you is what brought you here. So you have to embrace the full totality of all your existence.
So it's almost like making a decision not to have fear around any part of you
Absolutely.
From the past or present.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
How about in terms of bad decision or worst decision?
Well, you said cause anxiety, but I still don't think it was a bad decision. But I did buy another new house that I have to fully gut rehab, and I've been having a lot of issues with the neighbor calling Department of Buildings and, getting it together. But
Gotcha.
I don't think it was a bad decision. It's just causing me some stress.
Anxiety.
Yeah.
How about you?
Same exact thing. The thing that caused me the most anxiety is embracing the full totality of my existence, because, those are parts of me that were broken. You know what I mean? Those are parts of me that was like really dealing with a lot of trauma and issues that I was suppressing.
What's the hardest thing in that for you? Is there like one story, one event, one claim?
It's a bunch of different things, because it's just like, you think about a bunch of different things that actually really traumatized you, that you just been suppressing, and things that you don't want to remember. You know what I mean? But you have to in order to really get to a place of wholeness, I think.
So you're saying, are you afraid of the consequences of that, or are you afraid of just...
No, not the consequences, just dealing with it, because it makes you feel weak. It makes you feel vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like, it makes you feel uniquely tender, especially when I think about like stuff even with my pops. Like, I love my dad, you know what I mean? But it's like, I often get mad about things that my dad used to get mad at me about, that he would get mad at me for things he didn't teach me.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, things like that.
Okay. Yeah. So now, in terms of for you, Angela, with the anxiety, and for you accepting all parts of you, what is the opportunity that you have in your life today that maybe you didn't have before? Like, is the opportunity to call the neighbors and get coffee? Is the opportunity to look at the situation differently and feel blessed because you're able to buy a house? Like, what would actually be the opportunity?
Well, I've looked at it differently already, where I've told myself, I'm fortunate that I'm not in a situation where I have to move. I own the house that I'm in now. So it's not like I have to rush out and be somewhere and I won't have a place to go. I have, worked out an agreement, hopefully, with the neighbor, and I had to accept the fact that it's out of my control, and all I can do is handle what I can handle. So that means, making sure that everything is proper and in order, and just being patient.
Gotcha. So you're fine then this isn't really a problem for you.
I still think about it. It's still stressful because it's money that I'm having to spend, and and not being able to get, because I had anticipated being able to move at a certain date, and now that date has been pushed back, but it's manageable.
Okay. And how about you? What's the opportunity?
The opportunity is the luxury having the luxury of healing. You know what I mean? Because I think generations before us, didn't have this. They didn't have the resources, the therapy, the sacred purpose coaches, the life coaches like yourself.
Right.
So it's the luxury of healing and the opportunity to teach, right? Because even if I think about any and everything that I've done in my life, that's so-called good, so-called bad, it all provided me with experiences that I'm able to share with the next generation so they can make better choices and better decisions.
Gotcha. And what is the best decision either one of you wrote down in terms of your life?
I'm changing my career. And, I did that when I started doing radio like 17 years ago. I was doing marketing before that, and I made a decision in the midst of going through like a difficult time in my life where, I caught my boyfriend cheating on me, physically caught him. And then at that time, I also had gotten laid off from my job. So all this happened at once. And then that's when, I moped around for like a couple of days. But then I made a conscious decision to, change a lot of things in my life. And that's how it even happened for me.
Gotcha. Change your career. How about you?
Healing.
Making a decision to
That's
heal.
right. Going on a journey of healing. Everything, mindfulness in every form, from therapy to having a sacred purpose coach to eating better,
What is a
working
sacred
out.
purpose coach?
Sacred purpose coach is like a spiritual therapist.
Gotcha.
My name is Yadi Alba, and she's just amazing. So it's just like
She sounds spiritual.
Oh man, Yadi. No, Yadi's incredible. So it's psychological, but it's rooted in spirituality and God and things of that nature. So
Getting connected.
Yeah. So just going on the journey of healing was the best thing for me.
I gotcha. And are you proud of yourselves?
Yes, I am proud of myself. I think sometimes when I do panels or when I'm doing like one-on-one conversations and people run down things that I've accomplished, I am proud of myself for what I have done. I know I have a lot more that I need to do, but I think I'm really great at talking to myself and working through things that I need to work through and always trying to make sure that I elevate and looking at the bright side of things. I'm a really optimistic person, and I'm a pretty, in general, happy person. So I am proud of myself, even though it's hard to say it sometimes.
I don't know. That's a good question. I never thought about it. You know what I mean? I still think I deal with a lot of imposter syndrome in a lot of ways because you hear so many different opinions about yourself, especially when you're a public figure.
Right.
So you don't know what to believe. So I just always stick to what my dad would tell me. You're never as good as they say you are, and you're never as bad as they say you are. And I've had it both ways. I hear a bunch of negative stuff, and I'm like, well, who the fuck they talking about? But then I hear a bunch of positive stuff, and I'm like, who the fuck they talking about? And that really hit me when I gave the commencement speech at South Carolina State. 'Cause this dude, the president was just talking about all my different accomplishments in philanthropy, and he was going on for like 10 minutes, and I'm literally sitting there, who the fuck is he talking about?
It's so interesting because this is like an iconic show, right? I mean, you both would agree, right?
I hope so.
I mean, the show
If you say so.
Iconic
Mike.
in New York.
We've achieved a lot.
Yeah.
Have a huge reach. People care what you have to say. They care what you're doing in your life, and that's pretty rare.
Right.
So for whatever reason, universe created this moment where both of you have an enormous reach that hits millions of people, and I think that's like a testament to the decisions you've made to be yourself and to push yourself and to be fearless and it's like some people, they need to make drastic decisions. Someone probably listening right now is about to make a decision that could end them up in prison or jail or hurt someone.
Or dead, yeah.
Or dead. And it takes taking a step back and going, let me look at all my decisions in my life. Let me see what decisions have led to a better life. Let me look at what decisions have led to a part of my life that's not so great. Because from my experience, until we slow down and take a look at our life, we're just on this we're on MapQuest with no destination. And we need to look at our life and go like, wow, this is what God or universe has created for us to tell us that we're on the right track.
I have to thank my dad for that, because my dad would always say, if I don't change my lifestyle, I'm going to end up in jail, dead, or broke sitting under the tree. So those, being that I only thought I was going to have those three options, that's what made me make the right choices to better my life.
Yeah.
And I always try not to make decisions based on what other people have to say or what they think about me, because if you start believing what people are saying about you or thinking that you're not, you're this person or that person, you might make decisions based off of that. And so I've always been really aware of doing what I want to do and doing positive things no matter what other people have to say. So and part of your book you talk about emotional reasoning versus evidence-based reasoning, and I think that's an important thing too, because a lot of people make decisions based off of emotionally how they feel.
Yeah,
about
so
something.
there's a negative force that drives our thoughts behind every decision. So we make like 25,000, 30,000 decisions a day, right? We think 10 times faster than we talk. And so there's a thing I call the force, which is cognitive distortion. So in terms of making what we would call a bad decision, sometimes it's easier for people to go good or bad. You're either fortune telling, overgeneralizing, rigid thinking, which is like right fighting. You're confused, or emotional reasoning, which is like, I feel this way, therefore it's a fact. And then in the positive sense, it's like fact finding, objective thinking, clarified purpose, relaxed, and evidence-based reasoning. And so really it's about trying to get into the facts of our life, because we have this weird thing in our brain that sets us up. We think we're protecting ourselves, but we're just going, well, they would never hire me. Or you said that and I'm offended, therefore it's a fact. No, maybe it's an opportunity to work out your own stuff.
Right.
Oof.
It's so easy to blame others. So easy, but you don't get anywhere. You know, like you have to get to a place in your life where you're like, all right, these are my decisions. This is how I feel. Let me get into the facts and look at the evidence.
What about people who would say there's no such thing as a good or bad decision?
I mean, if that's authentic to them, I don't know if there is a good or bad decision, but it's a decision of what creates a better life for you. So a bad decision, in my opinion, would be like hurting someone else, hurting yourself to the point of like major consequences. Otherwise, that ends up with like kind of a sociopath, right? Someone who's like, I make no bad decisions, but yet you hurt other people.
Yeah, because some people say, okay, it's just life decisions and you learn from them and it's not necessarily good or bad. People believe that it's like fate. You know, I did this and then what happens from that is the universe willed it, or, you know, I've heard that before. Like I've heard people say there's no such thing as a good or bad.
I feel that way. I don't know if I believe it's fate, but I believe that there's no. I think everything is so-called good, so-called bad. I just think it's a process.
It is.
Like life is just a process.
It is. But I think there's certain ways of looking at problems that aren't authentic. Like, I think if we're not being true to our life and ourselves, then I would say that's not us operating from an authentic place, which ultimately will have us making decisions that aren't in alignment with who we are. But, I mean, whether we call them good or bad, I mean,
Right.
I just say that because it's language that's easier for people to digest. You guys are spiritually enlightened. So it's a different level of like talking to you guys around it. But a lot of people, it's like good decision, bad decision.
What about saying yes when you don't feel like doing something? Because I do that a lot, right? And it does turn out to be beneficial at times that, you know, sometimes you're like, I just don't feel like doing this. But,
Trauma response.
But I just want to get your thoughts, and I know you have this in the book too, but I want to expand on that. Saying yes, even if you don't feel like doing something.
What's an example?
Like, let's just say I agreed to go to a baby shower that I really don't feel like going to, but it's in another state and I have to spend money, get a hotel. I don't really feel like it and I don't really want to, but I say yes because I feel like I should.
Well, I think it's about, and that's what in the force or C, right? It's confusion or clarified purpose. So I kind of look at, have you ever been to a party and you're like, why am I here?
All the
Like,
time.
Yeah.
Well, not all the time
business
no more,
dinner,
'cause I
you're
don't
like-
go, but yeah, back in the day.
You're like, I don't want to be here, or why am I here? And you want to book early, and it's because we're not clear on our purpose. Is our purpose to mingle? Is our purpose to show up at the baby shower because it's a good friend? You know, if it's not that good of a friend, I think you have your answer, right? But if your purpose is to show up for someone else and you love that person, then you show up.
Right.
And you do it regardless if you want to do it or not, right? Because your purpose is to show up with love. So I think it's a matter of, does it align with your purpose?
Right.
And if it doesn't, then I think you have a...
Yeah. And I think physically too, like, do I have the money to spend on this? Do I have the time?
You
Am
have the money, don't you?
Well, no, I'm just saying for people who are
Oh,
listening.
I got
Because that's
you.
also a consideration, because I take into consideration people who might want to show up for me, but they might financially.
But I
feel
think
like-
if you
yeah.
can't afford it, don't do it.
Right,
Like, I
exactly.
don't understand people that spend money. I mean, I do understand it, but at the same time, like, I worked with a few people who are in who are rappers and in hip hop, and the way they would spend money that they didn't have, I was like, why are you getting private jets if you owe so many people money?
Right.
Like, you literally have
then posting in it.
stylists, so many people in your life you owe money to, and you're spending money on private jets, right? And I think that's a bad decision, in my opinion, because it's just being selfish and it's not taking care of others. And I think also if people can't afford to buy someone a gift, create a card. I remember more what people created for me than bought for me.
So you remember how people made you feel, basically.
Yeah, you remember how people make you feel, not what they gave you.
Yeah.
Although J-Lo gave me an Hermes blanket once.
Okay,
and
that's
that was
nice.
really nice
But
for Christmas.
it's because it's from J-Lo.
Maybe. But I think if someone gave me an Hermes blanket, I was like, I didn't own anything Hermes because I wouldn't spend the money.
No, and I do like that. She has the money to do it. But gifts that you wouldn't buy yourself, that's a great gift. Like, I would have never went out and purchased this.
I mean, how many gifts can you really think back on Christmas and what people got you or birthdays?
Oh, I grew up Jehovah's Witness, so I never had that experience. You know what I mean? Which is another form of trauma, but that's a whole other thing. You know what I mean? Now, you say when we see opportunities, we can make authentic decisions.
Yes.
Expound on it.
Well, when we see opportunities, there's almost like a lighter energy to it. So when we see something as a problem, we get anxiety, we get fear, we don't know what we're doing. When we see an opportunity in it, it feels like we're just actively working in the solution. So I would say when we're viewing life as an opportunity, we're being authentic.
Right.
Because we're not in fear. So I love helping people figure out what are the opportunities with any problem that you're in.
There's always an opportunity.
There is. I mean, and some people don't want to hear it. They do not want to hear there's an opportunity. They want to be stuck.
Like, what if you're a guy, you get a girl pregnant, you don't want to have the baby, but there's an opportunity in that still.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right?
Right. There's nothing you can do about it. Now it's out of your control, so you have to make that opportunity out of that situation.
But see, that's why I talk about the process, right? And that's why, one of the first books my dad ever gave me was the autobiography of Malcolm X. If you don't get Malcolm X without Malcolm Little, the guy they called Satan and everything else, like he had to go through all those experiences to become the brother that we now revere.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I got together for lunch with Sabrina Fulton in Miami. I love her. Like, I love Sabrina. We get steak. Let's go to her house next time I'm in town. And, like, I just love her. Like, and her outlook on life is not being a victim.
Right.
Wow.
The victor.
And
she's a victor.
She's a victor. She's not a victim. And, like, if she can do it, any of us can do it. Because that is a situation that is so fucked up.
Yeah.
And the fact that she lives and has an outlook and has to speak about it and show up as it, I mean, I admire her so much. And again, she's looking at it as an opportunity. She's helping other women.
Yeah.
She's running for office.
Yeah.
She shows up.
The first example I remember of that, you remember John Walsh?
Sounds really familiar.
Remember John Walsh? He used to host that show. I think that was his name. He used to host the show. I think it was America's Most Wanted.
Yeah.
But his son had got killed or something, and that's what made him start getting into, like, trying to help other people figure out their cases. I think his name was John Walsh. But he was, like, one of the first people that I remember, taking a tragic situation like that and turning it into an opportunity to help others. That's what Sabrina reminds me of.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. Because it's very easy to not do that. It would be easier to be like, I mean,
sucks. Right.
I don't even know if I could do that if I had a kid in that house. You know what I mean? It's like I'm a coach, and it would still be tough. That's how she said to me. She's like, you either make a decision to be a victor, or you make a decision to go through suffering. She's like, I was sick of it, and I needed to change my outlook.
Have you ever worked with somebody who you thought was just genuinely a terrible person?
Yes.
So what do you do in a situation like that?
Well, I mean, nowadays I back out. I'm not the right fit, or I try to make some movement. But, I mean, it depends. I mean, there's the kind of the male. A lot of the people I've worked with are amazing, right? So we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure it's rare cases that you're like.
It's rare cases, and it's usually like a very narcissistic male who, like, literally is so about the wealth and the, like, private jets and, like, naming people all the time, and you're just, like, stuck at dinner and they're yelling at the waiter. It's like that guy. Or it's or it's someone that has a lot of power and will only be a victim of life.
Okay. Right. Because I don't like when people have a lot of negative energy and everything, they see the negative in it and they complain.
And money, and that's an interesting thing about money, is a lot of people I know that are very wealthy are like that.
I cannot be around somebody like that. It brings my whole spirit down.
Oh, it's brutal.
Yeah.
You feel like you need like I went on Kelly Osbourne's podcast and I did her intervention it was like 12 years ago. It was so brutal that literally I felt like I needed to sleep for 3 days. And now we're cool, but back then I was like, who is this girl?
Thought she was terrible.
Called the cops on me.
What?
Why?
Oh yeah. The interventions are crazy. I did interventions for 10 plus years. So I would be flown out on tours or with clients to help them get sober out of crises. So with her family hired me.
Right.
And she was just so difficult. She was she grew up with Ozzy Osbourne, and so she was a pro. She was ready for battle as soon as I walked through the door.
It's like an exorcism.
Yeah.
Is there a cure for narcissism? And if so, what would be the one decision a narcissist has to make to not be a narcissist?
I don't know if there's a cure for narcissism.
I agree.
And I don't know that all people are good. Honestly. I used to. But the more I've been doing this 18 years now, and I just think some people just
fucked up.
There's something wrong with their brain.
Yeah.
Because they don't have any ability to have empathy or compassion. And those are the types of people you want to stay away from. Those are types of men that I've seen women end up in some really bad spots with.
Right. And you can't save everybody, huh?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No. I couldn't. No, I stopped doing intervention. Once at the end of my career, once I had guns pulled on me, I was like,
What?
I don't want to do this. I had a guy chasing him with a motorcycle. I remember I was like,
oh my gosh.
I wasn't even getting paid that
This is
much.
a movie, by the way.
In LA, and I was just like, why am I doing this? I'm literally entering and the show intervention messed up all interventions.
Yeah.
Because by the time it used to be so easy, but then the show intervention came out, so every family tried to do it ahead of time. They all thought they could do an intervention. Yeah. So by the time you got the person, it was like they were ready for battle. They knew it was coming. They weren't going to go, and they would go to any length.
There's a great black philosopher by the name of Project Pat who once said, don't save them, they don't want to be saved. And that's what you got to leave it at sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. You can always raise someone's bottom. That's what we say. Wait
a minute now, Mike. It's Pride Week. What does that mean?
You know what I mean. No, but raise, the bottom. I know. I was just.
I like that phrase.
You can always raise their bottom. I didn't even think of it like that. Oh my goodness. But because it always can get worse. People always go, oh, they haven't hit rock bottom. But it can always get worse.
Right.
Every time someone goes, I hit rock bottom, you're like, yeah,
there's a bottom under that.
There's a bottom under that,
No,
and under that, and under that. So, but yeah, it's.
What do you? If somebody, all right, so you said people would try to do interventions themselves, right? So what are some of the things you need to do in order to?
You got to know where you're sending them. A lot of people want to sit down with someone without a solution. You have to have the solution. You have to know a therapist or treatment center or doctor or something. You can't just sit down and they say, yes, help me. And you just go, okay, cool. Now we'll figure out your help.
Right.
Or you don't ask them to look up what they need. So that's one. Two, you have to figure out the leverage. What's their reason? What's their motivation? Because there's only two things that motivate people: consequences and pain.
Okay.
Wow.
That's it. Consequences if they don't make the choice, and emotional pain of staying the same. Wow. Sure, love helps. The whole thing can be packaged in love, but it's consequences and pain.
You think that's the only two things that can motivate people?
Drug addicts.
Wow. What about honesty with compassion? Meaning hey, you compassionately tell somebody they need to lose weight or something, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think there's a difference between someone who's spiraling out of control and someone who needs a healthy adjustment.
Got you. Okay,
so,
I get it.
I'm thinking more of the
How
severe,
do
You've gained 20 pounds.
How do you help someone who's addicted to coke and is throwing their life away and selling drugs and what have you?
Got you. That makes sense.
But I could tell you the people that I intervened on that were homeless were more difficult than the people who I had with money. The homeless people were busier than anyone, at least they claimed, and they'd ride off on their bicycle and not accept help.
Wow.
It's ridiculous.
Explain the concept of best self and anti-self.
So best self is, it's our parents give us names. Our best self is that part of us that, mine's a wizard. That's why I got a wizard on my arm. I have wizards all over my house. I remind myself. So it's authentic, funny, compassion. We all create our best selves, and we create a character. That's what I do with my clients. And we also created an anti-self, which is that part of us that's getting in the way of growing or evolving. So your anti-self could be showing up in your life, Charlamagne, when you're being critical or caring what people think or beating yourself up. And so what I do, instead of just going, stop beating yourself up, is I create a character that connects to your brain as mindfulness.
Right.
When you add a little humor to it, it's easier. We're already so critical of ourselves. So I create an anti-self. And so what we do is we kind of say, how are you going to walk in more in your life as your best self? And how is your anti-self showing up? And
so like a Leonard versus, Charlamagne.
That's right.
Right, but it may be like this other version, because I'm sure there's like a hybrid of all that. Like, I don't think that you show up here and you're not yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's a part of you that gets in the way from you evolving.
Mm-hmm.
And usually it's formed early on in life, and it just morphs into different areas of our life as we get older. But I love creating like kind of like characters because it works with kids, it works with teenagers, adults. It's kind of fun.
It's a defense mechanism too. It protects you. Sometimes you create I know for me, I create the character to protect the real me.
Right.
Yeah, the authentic self.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I do the mirror exercise now. I look in the mirror and you tell myself, you are smart.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I don't say you are smart. You know what I'm saying?
I looked in the mirror too before I came in here.
But I do. I talk to myself in the mirror.
Right.
Like
it works.
Yeah, I do.
For sure, it
Absolutely.
works. It's as corny as it sounds.
No, it does.
It really works.
It does.
Because we don't get to do that throughout the day.
Right.
And if we're looking for other people to give us those affirmations, man, we're going to dry out.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden our self-esteem is based upon what other people think of us. And I'm with you. I mean, I think looking in the mirror and saying stuff is magic.
I've never done that.
No, it's good. It's really good. Now, you talk about autopilot, conscious, and authentic decisions.
Yeah.
Can you define those?
Sure. Autopilot decisions are like, you brush your teeth, you go to bed, wake up at this
Put on
time.
deodorant.
Whatever, right?
Right.
Like to get through life. Conscious decisions are like, how am I going to start the day?
Right.
Am I going to meditate?
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to be in gratitude? Am I going to check my phone right when I wake up?
Mm-hmm.
Conscious decisions are, what am I doing for my health? But autopilot decisions are just kind of like getting through the day, and they're the majority of decisions that aren't going to change. I mean, you can change your toothpaste, but it's not that important. Whereas conscious decisions are decisions where we're like, this is going to have, this one decision that I make consciously is going to have a huge impact on my life. Like you talked about with a career change, or you making a decision to heal. Those are huge decisions that are conscious. And I think that when we slow down at life and we take a look and we assess, we can start to make conscious decisions.
Wow.
One conscious decision we talk about is diet, right? And how you're going to eat healthier and things like that. How do you feel like diet affects your frame of mind also, what you eat? Do you feel like it's a difference when you're being healthier versus when you're eating junk food?
I think so. I mean, everyone's different. But I mean, for you guys, don't you feel different when you eat different types of food?
100%.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with someone the other day who just started doing a morning show also. He was like, you've been doing this for so long. Like, what would you say is one of the secrets to you being able to get up early and maintain throughout the day? And I said diet, I think, is one of the most important things, just because you have to, I had the juices every day. I drink plenty of water. I try to make sure I'm healthy. I don't eat anything that's too heavy. I don't eat late at night. And that's helped me tremendously. And I also find that diet really does, change how I feel about things and people around me. Certain foods I feel like make you angrier or something. I can't even.
They can. I mean, the other thing that's helpful is community. So it's with any change that anyone wants to make in their life. That's why a lot of people will go to church, or they're a part of something. Is community creates that conversation around the food. It creates the conversation about working out. It makes you care about other people. So you're not, completely self-centered.
Right.
And so community is something that really was stripped away with COVID. I don't care how many Zoom meetings happen and people were like, we're together, we're all over Zoom. It's like, that's not true.
Yeah.
So I think now is the opportunity to redefine your community, because your community probably changed when COVID hit.
Yeah. Wow. And consciously being around people who are positive and uplift you. I feel like that's important too, because sometimes we end up being around, like we were saying earlier, that negative energy. But when you can have people around you that are like, okay, they're uplifting me, I can strive and aspire to do and be inspired by these people around me, I think that matters a lot too. Like you were saying also, the people that you're around.
Yeah. Do you have negative people in your life?
I made a conscious decision to rid myself of those issues. And so there's people that I'm like, there's certain people that you're always going to have in your life, but it's just from a distance.
I'm curious for both of you, what type of people are, and I talk about this in One Decision, I'm like, do you have mentors? Do you have like who's on your
Absolutely.
team, right?
I got a soul tribe.
You got a soul tribe. So what type of people do you know for you today are not good for you? I'm using the term good, right? I'm not saying, what type of people are not good for you today?
People who are not on a journey of healing.
Got it.
Like simple. Like people who are not even attempting to be on a journey of healing, dealing with whatever traumas they may have going on. Like they just accepted that life is the way it is, it was what it was, and they gonna sit on that. Like, no, you gotta unpack that.
So what do you do like when they still want to hang out with you?
Don't hang out with them.
You just say,
yeah, I mean, because I don't really.
You tell them why?
Yeah, and I think they know why, but I don't really have a lot of people like that in my life anymore because life kind of like cuts those people off for you.
Yeah.
So it's like you look around and it's like the people that's supposed to be around you, your circle, are like-minded individuals and people who encourage you to be the best version of yourself, your authentic self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
I would say people who are takers. There's a lot of people that always want things from you, but they're not really bringing anything to the table as far as your life. I'm not even talking about tangible things, but just always want advice, help, and yes, finances too, where you feel like you're the person that's always doing everything and they're not really reciprocating that. That feels like a leech just kind of like sucking you dry.
Yeah.
And so I tried to make sure that I minimize that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, too. Sometimes I'll see people online who are like, positivity at all times, and then their next post is like, this motherfucker said this. You're like, no, that's not it. That's not it.
You're
I see it
right.
all the time online,
I see
and
it too.
I'm so tempted to say something. They're like, cyberbullying is wrong, and then the next second, they're on someone's page being a total
Right,
dick.
they'll be on your page leaving a comment like, bitch, I hate you, you're so whack. And then they'll be on their page with Bible quotes.
Yeah,
in the
Bible
bio,
quotes. And
you're
their
like,
profile has Bible quotes,
But you
right?
got to feel all your feels, right? We're complicated individuals.
Yeah, I guess so. We got to project it on other people, I guess.
No, but I always say I feel like that's a reflection of yourself when you have a lot of like anger and hatred and negative feelings towards other people. A lot of times that's really how you feel about yourself. You're not happy with things about you, and so you're taking that out and projecting it onto other people. It could be somebody you don't even know. And so when you're looking at other people's lives or their pages and you're like having all these feelings of, oh, this bitch thinks she that, oh, so she has surgery, that's why she thinks she's so flat. Like people really look at other people like that, but really you're looking at yourself in a way that you're not comfortable with what you have going on. So I'm just placing that on someone else and being angry about it.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, my man Mike Bear, the book is out right now. One Decision, the First Step to a Better Life. Forward by Dr. Phil. How's Dr. Phil? I ain't spoken to Dr. Phil in a minute, man.
He's good.
He's good?
Yeah, I emailed with him last night.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a mentor of mine.
Yeah. Well, Mike, good
Thanks
to
for
see
having
you,
me
man.
out, man.
Always, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
Tell them where to
always
find
a
you.
pleasure.
Coach Mike Bear on Instagram, my podcast, Always Evolving, which I would love either one of you, if you're ever in LA, to come out.
I love that. I love that name.
Always Evolving.
Yeah.
It's at my house.
I'll be in
It's
LA
very
next
comfortable.
month.
Come out.
Yeah.
Come on my show.
Let's do it.
And then, One Decision is available anywhere books are sold. I did the audio. I know you do the audio for your audiobook, so
All right.
come and get.
My
Definitely
man.
do that. You got to come out when I come. We're doing a roller skating party.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm down.
Disco Oasis.
I'll be the tallest one out there.
It's Mike Bear. It's the Breakfast Club.